Epictetus was a slave who was tortured and couldn't escape his circumstances. Marcus Aurelius was the most powerful man in the world who could do almost anything he wanted, but they had the same philosophy, the same daily practices, the same result. That philosophy is called Stoicism. In the next 10 minutes, I'm going to tell you who the Stoics actually were, what the core teaching is, and give you 3 practices you can bring into your week starting today. So let's get started. Around 300 BCE, a merchant named Zeno was shipwrecked. He lost everything and wandered into a bookshop in Athens, and it was there that he discovered philosophy. He was so taken by it that he basically followed a philosopher down the street and just started hounding him with questions. He eventually began teaching on a painted porch in Athens. In fact, the Greek word for porch is stoa, so a Stoic is someone from the porch philosophy. But the 3 figures who carried Stoicism into our time weren't Greek. They were Roman, and their lives could not have looked more different from each other. First on the list, Epictetus. He was born a slave. His owner was a freedman from the court of Nero, the emperor who famously played music while Rome burned. Epictetus received some education, was eventually freed, and went on to teach philosophy in Rome. Students came from across the empire just to hear him. He wrote nothing himself. Everything we have was recorded by a student, and his central teaching came directly from the experience of a man who had almost no external control over his life. He knew more than most that something had to be independent of circumstance, or nothing was. On the opposite end was Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor. He ruled an empire of 70 million people, fought wars on multiple fronts simultaneously, buried several of his children, and dealt with a court full of people who flattered him anytime they weren't trying to undermine him. He kept a private journal, never meant for publication, where he reminded himself daily of Stoic principles, wrestling with his own anger, and tried to be a better man than his position actually required of him. That journal is called the Meditations. It's one of the most intimate documents in the history of philosophy. It reads like a man talking to himself at the end of a hard day, which is pretty much exactly what it is. And lastly, there's Seneca. He was a playwright, a statesman, and an advisor to Nero, and a man of enormous wealth who wrote eloquently about the dangers of enormous wealth. His life was full of tension and contradiction, but his letters are among the most readable philosophical texts ever written. They're conversational, personal, and urgent. He was ultimately ordered by Nero to commit suicide, which he did with documented calm around 65 CE. 3 people, radically different circumstances, a slave, an emperor, and a senator. But they had the same practices, the same fundamental convictions. When most people consider Stoicism, they think it means suppressing emotion. It doesn't. Let me show you what it actually means. The core of Stoic practice, the thing Epictetus opens with in the very first line of his handbook, is what philosophers call the dichotomy of control. He writes, "Some things are in our control and others are not. In our control are opinion, motivation, desire, aversion, whatever is of our own doing. Not in our control are our body, our property, reputation, our office, whatever is not of our own doing." Now, I want to be careful here because this teaching is easy to misread. The Stoics were not saying, don't try, don't act, resign yourself to whatever happens. That's not Stoicism. That's just a parody of Stoicism. What they were saying is this: put your energy where it can actually do something. Your opinion of what's happening, your values, your effort, your response, those are yours. They are always, in some sense, yours. The weather, other people's choices, your reputation, and what happened yesterday, those are not in your control. And when you spend your energy trying to control what you cannot control, that's when you suffer. Not because the universe is cruel, but because you're fighting a battle you simply can't win. Most of our daily anxiety isn't coming from what's actually happening. It's coming from our judgment about it. That meeting that went badly, the email that hasn't come back, the thing someone said that you can't stop replaying over and over. The Stoic practice is to return again and again to one question: is this in my control? And if it's not, what is the most virtuous response available to me? If you're finding this useful, consider joining a community of seekers that value ancient wisdom and strive to apply it to our lives. I'll put a link in the description below. Stoicism was never meant to be an intellectual exercise. The Stoics were almost aggressive about this. Philosophy is not a subject you study, it's a life that you live. So here's 3 practices drawn directly from the ancient text. Practice 1, the morning check-in. Marcus Aurelius began each day by mentally preparing for difficulty. The Stoics called this the premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of difficult things. Before he faced his day, Aurelius would remind himself, "Today I will meet people who are difficult, ungrateful, and arrogant." He wasn't being pessimistic, he was being prepared. The modern version is simple. Before you pick up your phone in the morning, take 60 seconds. Ask yourself, what is one thing that might be challenging today? And then, if that happens, how do I want to respond? You're not catastrophizing. You're rehearsing your values before the noise of the day can drown them out. Okay, practice number 2, the evening examination. Seneca described reviewing each day before he slept. He asked himself 3 questions. What bad habit did I resist today? Where did I make progress? And where can I do better? That wasn't self-punishment. It was honest accounting, the kind that actually produces growth. Modern research on self-reflection confirms what Seneca already knew. Examining your behavior without shame is far more effective than ignoring it or beating yourself up about it. 3 minutes with a journal before you sleep. Just an honest reflection of your day. That's all. Practice number 3, negative visualization. Now this one sounds counterintuitive, so stay with me. The Stoics practice deliberately imagining the loss of things they valued. Not to become morbid, but to recognize what they already had. Epictetus suggested that when your child goes out to play, you remind yourself gently, honestly, that they're mortal. If you've been a parent, you've probably experienced this uncomfortable thought already. Epictetus isn't asking us to live in fear, but he knows that awareness returns you to genuine presence with what is already yours. It causes us to be grateful for what we have now because we could lose it at any time. After all, that's out of our control. So this week, choose one relationship, one circumstance, one thing that you tend to take for granted. Spend 2 minutes honestly imagining life without it. Not to spiral, but to wake up. This is the antidote to the hedonic adaptation that robs us of gratitude for the lives we already have. Stoicism is not a relic, it's a living tradition, one that has been tested in slavery, exile, war, grief, and the ordinary weight of days that don't go as planned. The fact that it has come back so powerfully in our own time is not an accident. We need it. Marcus Aurelius was not calm because nothing hard happened to him. He was calm, or he was always trying to be, because he had a practice. And that practice is available to you. If this resonated with you, subscribe and leave a comment below telling me which of the 3 practices you want to try first. I read every comment and I genuinely love to hear from you. There's a full written version of everything we've covered today, including a comparison of Stoicism and Buddhism that I think you'll find surprising. I'll put a link for it in the description. I'll catch you on the next one.